All right, that's what it is.
Three, two, one. World news, everybody.
Word, what's good with it?
What's good? What's good, man? We got everybody a special one for you today. I really hope you guys enjoy it. My guest for today is World News. Uh, we've had a lot of interesting stuff happen in the YouTube community, in the world, in politics, religion, spirituality, everything. In the last couple of years, it's like been an awakening. You know, they said 2012, I think it was December 21st, 2012 was the end of the Mayan calendar. There was supposed to have been an awakening of some sorts. And it seems like uh, it's happened. You know, maybe not in a physical sense, maybe not in the sense that the world came to an end, but there was that age of Aquarius, that awakening of the brain, of the thymus, of the pituitary, of the endocrine system, spiritual system, the chakras.
Indeed.
Uh, and let me not get into all that. I want to talk to my guest here, World News. Tell us, who is World News? What is World News? Let's go.
Okay, world news. You know what I mean? That's me. That's who's speaking now. I'm a reporter. I'm somebody that's reported several cases. I also, you know what I'm saying, have been one of the main people, that's discussed various levels of information, various news, not just about cult leaders, not just about Kanika Jenkins, not about just the average of on what people actually think. It surpasses that. And what I made an attempt to do while calling myself World News back from 2016, I wanted to exemplify, what it would be with covering the news by way of using URLs, through copy, link, paste. That's why my name is WURLD News. You understand? So by doing that, I understand that it's a lot of people, that partake in using social media. This is where the mass majority of their information comes from, whether it's websites or videos. And I wanted to be, more or less the voice and the connectivity for people within the community, in fact, that are looking for that information. So that's why I started reporting.
Okay. Okay. So tell me a little bit about, tell me more about these UR, how you using these URLs, social media in general. Like how did it come about that you said, okay, I'm gonna use social media not only to spread my voice, but to raise light on certain issues. What made you? What was the first thing I guess that made you say, "Hey, I want to talk about this. I want to put my face out there."
Okay, word. One of the first things was I was actually incarcerated, and I was waiting for some money. I was waiting on actually my mother to send me some money so that I could be able to, use the phone. And I didn't have that much of a connection with her for quite some time. So being that I wasn't able to get somebody, you know what I'm saying, someone's family member to put some money on the phone or whatever, for my mom's or whatever, a dude stepped to me and he was like, "Yo, you need to use the phone." I was like, "Yeah, I need to use the phone." He was like, "Yo, come here, man." And we went to the back of the block and he opened his locker up and walked off. And the flip phone was just sitting in the locker. We in prison. And I'm like, damn. I'm like, "Yo, you got a phone?" He like, "Yo, you go ahead." You know what I'm saying? So I used the phone and shit. He let me use it and shit. I used it for about like a good little 10 minutes or whatever. Talked to my people, seeing what was going on. And as the days, progressed, this is when people started getting phones into the prison. So when other people was getting them or whatnot, I would access them, and then people started coming to me and asking me like, "How do you do this? How do you do that? What? How do you put the picture on Facebook? How do you put the video on there? How do you call people and stuff like that?" And I became somewhat, as a go-to person, a front man for that. And then once that I was able, to buy my own phone in prison, and then I got on Facebook, I used it basically for what it was worth, as far as social media, connecting with people. Hey, this is where I'm at, this, and that. And what happened was an event took place, and it was a gang fight that broke out, and some guys came from a whole different yard. And when they came from the whole different yard, you know what I'm saying, whatever it was that they was beefing about at that time, through the window, I recorded it. And when I recorded it, I was asking, like, I was telling people, like, yo, I got this video, but I can't send it from this phone. Like, how can I do it? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a flip phone. I don't know how to send this to anybody. And I actually had a book that was called, well, a magazine that was called, what is it, Ink, and it was a business magazine, and they were talking about URLs. And once I found out what a URL was, then I was able to actually forward that link, you understand, to my peoples, and they watched the video and they was like, damn, I can't believe it. It was like, how did y'all get phones in there? And then it went to a even deeper level. And then once that I got released, I got on YouTube, uploaded a little video or whatever, just messing around, just from what I learned in there. That's how I started connecting with people and building groups and things of that nature. And the dialogue went even further. So that's the whole thing with the world news thing within itself. It's all about the URL.
I understand that. I understand that. Now, it's important that we use the social media age to spread information, to spread what we know about what's going on in the community. What was the first? What was it about the Kanika Jenkins community that drew you there? I know you were there for quite some time. I don't know the whole history. Let us know a little bit about that. And I just
Okay, I
want to
was drawn.
say, and I apologize. I just want to say what's up to the chat. Summer Lady, Yvette Gandy, Sheila Cole, Myrna Chambers, Petra Carmen, especially what's up. Everybody, Pisces Princess, Red Eye Love Me, gotta go get her. Okay, everything. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Got your ones up, got your worlds up, got your black mirrors up. I know you got your black mirror up. Love
Yeah.
y'all. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Back to the drawing of the Kanika case. What drew me to the Kanika Jenkins case was the similarities with some things that I had heard and had read about. I didn't have too much proof about at the time with what was going on, but the main thing that led me to it was actually the involvement with individuals that partook at the time in organ harvesting, human trafficking, child abductions, and everything and more. So once that I started reporting on the case, my passion with the case actually came from having my mother's organs being removed, that was illegally by the hospital, where I'm from. And they did that. But the way that they justified it was to the effect of saying that, the body would be donated over to science. But it wasn't so much as the body that was donated, because at the time, when they had my mother on the breathing machine, her organs were already removed. They were already gone, you see. And they said by way of my mother not having any insurance, they were going to have to fly her from North Carolina to Texas because her insurance would only be covered at that particular hospital. And I refused to do that. Refusing to do that, that's when everything, what I'm saying, pretty much came into effect with them saying, well, hey, this is the only thing that we can do. And I'm like, well, I don't have no way, what I'm saying, to go all the way to Texas. I had just got out of prison. I was on probation. So when I heard about this whole thing with Kanika Jenkins and the thing that they were saying and what I researched myself in reference to her organs actually being removed, it came to the point where I dug deeper within the case. I linked up with other, popular YouTubers that people know now, at the time that were very, unknown at the time. And it's like once that we went deeper into trying to find out what was going on with Kanika Jenkins, there were other things, that came into play. So that's how it all started right there.
Okay, I understand that. Now, I've had a lady on my channel, and I'm sure most of the people in the chat probably know. You probably know Queen Miko, True Seeker. I've had her on the channel before. She has had a situation to where her daughter was organ harvested as well as she believes. My heart goes out to the people, their stories. That's what I like to have on the channel is real people, real stories. Um, so with this organ harvesting thing, you hear this a lot. Especially with people in the minority community, Hispanics, Black, Latin Americans. You hear a lot about drive-bys. You hear a lot about spontaneous deaths, and then all of a sudden, the organs come up missing, or the DHR. If it's a child, the DHR takes over,
Y'all takes over.
especially if it's a
Right.
child. DHR has to take over because the parent was unfit. Something happened, oh well, it's just a brain hemorrhage, or they think it's a contusion. They think that the child has been struck or hit, but it could have just been an aneurysm. But they don't even dig deep. 24 hours, those organs are gone.
Right.
That's happened here, in my city to a person I know, as well as Queen Miko, the truth seeker, from her story. You telling me one right now as well. So these stories can't be uh, no anecdotal true. But once you get a collection of evidence like that from different sources, you start to piece together a kind of intricate tale there, right?
Oh
Um,
yeah, but yeah, basically what it does is it connects and it demystifies what would be considered as being a story, and then we get to the point of acknowledging it as being an instance that took place. Because in an instance, anything can take place, but it just so happens that a lot of these things that take place, child abduction, human trafficking, these multiple kidnappings, serial abductors, predatory abductors, all of these unfamiliar terminologies to most people are definitely the main source that's behind the disappearances of people. Now, I'm going to go right back for a second to the Kanika Jenkins case.
mhm,
Now, because I just thought about this. Now, when I was covering the Kanika Jenkins case, one of the most interesting things that I seen, that took place in Chicago was there was an area that was once the largest manufacturer of holiday catalogs, which everybody, remembers the 80s. They remember the big Sears and Roebucks catalogs where you could order stuff, blankets, shoes, toys, bikes, appliances, whatever it was, home and
yeah,
garden
big
stuff, the
thick
whole nine.
catalogs. Yeah.
That big thick catalog that you seen was manufactured at a building that's in Chicago, and across the railroad tracks from there is like the main office of that place where they did administration at. That building, what I'm referring to now, is called Home Square. And Home Square was one of, and still is one of the main places where a lot of the dope boys, a lot of the people that get pulled over, not having, driver license and things of that nature, they go to Home Square and they're detained there. And once detained at Home Square, just know that it's even been reported by the popular blog channel and news site that's called The Guardian, that people go there and then they become disappeared.
Mm.
So a lot of the instances that took place, now that we have reason to believe that these people have gone missing, they have gone missing by way of the assistance of rogue law enforcement, and that added, to the missing person toll that took place in the world, not just Chicago alone. But once I seen that, that connected me with another place that was called the Biological Resource Center. And the Biological Resource Center, as well, is a place where they say that, body parts supposedly are donated to science. That road, just that tip alone, just dealing with the Biological Resource Center, I was actually covering a case with a guy whose name is Arthur Rathburn, and it led me all the way to Detroit, and the connection between Detroit, Arizona, and Chicago had connected full circle. I also was able to connect a lot of the skincare products that were used, skin blemishing cream, age defying creams that they actually make. All of those creams are actually manufactured in the Chicago area as well. Places like Grosum Park, different areas in Chicago where people go missing. This was also connected to California, of a guy who's a medical professor. His name is Dean Fisher, and Dean Fisher is the guy that drew up, where that wrote up a law that was put into place, and he is the one that made it legal in order for anybody to have a water cremation machine. And the water cremation machine is a quicker, more efficient way, as opposed to just burning a body, or cremating a body. You would cremate the body, you understand, by using various liquids. And this is what the mass majority of these body snatchers are actually using with people whose organs that they take in their bodies that are disregarded, that are just thrown to the wayside. These people have funded together, they band together, and they have water cremation machines. And there's even more of these atrocities that are taking effect to this day.
Hmm. Man, it's some stuff going on, right? Like
Oh
I
yeah, it's a
like
lot going.
I love to sit down and listen to guys who know what the hell they're talking about, man. You sound like you've researched this thoroughly, man. You dropping references. I would normally I would fact check. I would pull up, YouTube or Google right now and fact check. But you're convincing, so I'm gonna leave it at that. You guys can go and fact check on the side. I may as well. Very interesting stuff, man. We have to shed light to this kind of thing. I'm glad that you are doing it and other people who are in the sector. Now let's switch gears. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Hold on 1 second, 1 second. Hold on 1 second before we switch gears.
Okay.
Hold your thought. Now I have another series of videos as well that I have private on the channel.
Mm.
And what I was telling you about the age defying, skin blemishing, wrinkle free creams, that are used once that, baby fetuses are obtained. This is what they're using in order to be able to make this cream. And I also reported out in Detroit as well, the same place where Arthur Rathburn was from. There's a funeral home that's called Perry Funeral Home, and there's a couple more where the first one, 11 baby fetuses were found in the ceiling of a funeral home. And this goes all the way back to my reporting as well about Planned Parenthood, to people who have made videos about Pizzagate and everything that took place with the Clintons. This more or less demystifies and debunks of on what they don't want you to know in reference to what they're doing and how that they're doing it. It's a secret organization.
So
This
you
is
believe
beyond.
it? So you believe in Pizzagate?
Yes, yes, I do.
Okay,
Yes, I
tell me
do.
about Pizzagate. I saw the Joe Rogan episode where they had where the guy was showing him actual like symbols that they use as far as codes and signs to let them know these are the establishments to go to, like this ones with crescent moons and stars and different things like that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. Before that we go to Pizzagate, I want to state first and foremost, um, that there was a gate that was opened at first before any of this was even heard about. And this gate was called Watergate. I don't know if you're familiar with Watergate or not, but within Watergate, when that took place within the government, the political ties that were involved with Watergate, one of the main people who was actually a secretary to Watergate, and that was a part of it. It just so happens to be Hillary Clinton. And the whole
Mm-hmm.
terminology,
Yeah.
Pizzagate, came from Watergate.
Yeah.
And
True.
that Hillary Clinton was within the presidential debate along with Donald Trump, one of her close friends. Know as well as understand that Hillary Clinton was financed by the group, the organization, and the agency that's called Planned Parenthood.
Fact.
Those are the people that backed her with that money. You understand? So being
Facts.
that they backed her right with that money by Planned Parenthood actually being set up in some of the most gritty and some of the most distasteful neighborhoods that it is, these agencies were set up so that young, single black females, were able to dispose, of their unborn fetuses. They were able to do so by using Planned Parenthood, and by Planned Parenthood, actually being the vehicle for that. A lot of these fetuses that they actually, were able, to take from women or to take from females. When they did so, there was a lot that was done behind the scenes with the trafficking, with the shipping, with the packing, and with the people that actually ordered and took a part and parcel of wanting baby fetuses.
Hmm.
There's
And they
also
use these
video. Go ahead, brother.
and they use these fetuses to for creams and different age defined things. I understand that they use the embryonic stem cells For a lot of different purposes, not just for creams and salves. They also use them in medicines. They're using them in like different genetic studies that try to reverse the aging process and completely not just the signs of aging, but they're trying to stop aging completely with these embryonic stem cells, and then even doing genetic modification on themselves. That's how they get into the point where they can not only clone something, but keep that clone, in perpetual whatever state they'd like, at whatever period of development it's in. That's an interesting thing. Is that the key to immortality? The Philosopher's Stone? Are they reaching the pinnacle? I don't know.
Well,
Science is getting crazy right now, man. And then the way they're trying to mask everything with as a political spectrum, they're trying to mask it as, oh, the right against the left, or moderates against radicals, or it's really not about that. It's really more about it's I hate to say this, it's more of a spiritual thing. You know what I mean? Like I hate to say that because what is a spirit? We can't define a spirit. We can't put our hands on the spirit. So I can't tell you that that even exists. But it just feels like in this time we're in, there's an energy that's bigger than us that's got control right now, and we're just we're not at the wheel. Do you feel that as well?
oh yeah, fact. And what you're saying in reference to the spirit, just know as well as understand that a spirit is nothing more but energy dressed up in that definitive term. That's all that that is.
Yeah.
It's nothing but energy. So there's various faculties that play and have a part in our life that is esoteric, that's unknown to a lot of us only because we haven't subscribed to a different form of thinking, and we haven't uncovered evidence to be able to suffice what we're thinking, being that there's no proof. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what we have to do is use the connectivity. So now I'm going to connect it all together, and I'm going to show you what I'm saying.
Okay.
Now, in reference to Hillary Clinton and her part impartial with Pizzagate, by asking on whether or not if I believed in Pizzagate, if I did not believe in Pizzagate, and if there was no reason to debunk Pizzagate, you got to ask yourself, why did Hillary Clinton attack Julian Assange? Julian Assange. Now I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it 360 with you right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now everybody that's in the chat right now. Now pay attention to this right here. Now the dude Julian Assange, the one who was exiled from London, from the UK, Julian Assange, who was exiled from there, he bounced. He went to Mexico or some damn wherever the hell that he went. He was one of the people that actually start. Well, matter of fact, he is the originator and CEO of WikiLeaks.
Mm-hmm.
So being that he was leaking a lot of information, Julian Assange worked at a newspaper corporation. That newspaper corporation that's in the UK, that newspaper corporation had already put out the article of Kanika Jenkins dying in the freezer of the fucking Crown Plaza back in 2014. That's why he was attacked. That's why he was attacked. That's right. You see? You see? That's how deep that this shit goes right here. So
Mm-hmm.
after they put out that article, then you had a guy that I'm pretty sure that a few people are familiar with, whose name is George Soros, and George
Mm-hmm.
Soros started a movement that's called Black Lives Matter, and Black Lives Matter actually started in Memphis, Tennessee, and there was somebody within the political board in Memphis, Tennessee, and his name is James D. Comey. James D. Comey now is
Mm-hmm.
somebody that Donald Trump actually hired to be a part of the U.S. government. So that's how deep that it is, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why I
Man, it's
started
so
reporting all
it, it's so deep that I believe, man, it's a lot deeper than we even give it credit for. I believe, man. I understand that they are kidnapping children, and they are there's teams of people, women and men, who rode around in cars just here, even in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, who kidnap children and sex traffic them. And what are they sex trafficking these children for? It's not just for your typical guy just want to have sex and get a girl $60. No, it's some deviant child, very sick, sadistic shit that's going on. And why? Because it's the energy that it produces. That's the sicker the energy, the it's not even necessarily the more sicker the energy, the more power the more energy you'll produce. Is that the energy that they're trying to produce? Do you get what I'm saying? The
Right.
energy that they're trying to, the magic that they're trying to incant is just some sick magic. That's why these priests have sex with these kids. That's why every cult leader is a damn near child molester. You know, because that magic that they have to get in tune with, whatever you want to call it, Dormammu, fucking Cthulhu, or you can go back to H.G. Lovecraft, all of these fucking uh, cult leaders, spiritual systems, they require sacrifice, and
Oh yeah.
not only sacrifice, but it just ritual and tradition. And if you don't follow these, then you're not going to get the spiritual benefits. And what it, like we were talking about earlier, spiritual just means energy, right? So whatever energy you're trying to invoke is what the act that you have to do. It's a very sick game going on, man. And I believe these power politicians, these Hillary Clintons, like you said, this Pizzagate stuff, this Joe Biden, Barack Obama, they're all in it together, man. It's all a game, and they're playing it with all of our lives. They're sucking energy, and they're basically that's what these wars are, endless wars. All they need the blood. They need that blood sacrifice. They need to spill the blood on specific energy points on the world. You wonder why we have war in certain places: Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria. We've gone to Egypt, most of the Middle East. We're talking about going to war in China, but really they don't. But that's not even the point. They need the blood. They need the blood sacrifice to make the magic even more potent. It's I may be going way off topic and way kind of off kilter with this. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, 100%. That's like I interview people as well, so I know exactly where you was going with that. That's what you were connecting, with Queen Elizabeth when you were speaking in reference to immortality and the possibility of doing so. Yeah, I
Mm,
get that 100%. See, that goes all the way back to Aleister Crowley and the
mm-hmm.
that he practiced, you understand, and what he was involved in. See, a lot of people don't know about this because this is not, trending news. Like when I'm talking about Nature Boy and Carbonation, just know that that's not the only thing that I know, and that's not going to be the only thing that I'm
Yeah.
going to be able to bring forth to social media because the platform expands way past fucking Nature Boy. It's way bigger than that right there. It's just that we have to go through. We
Thumbs
have
up
to
in the
put.
chat for that.
Right. All facts. All facts. So we have to push through with this, in order to get to different things, different topics, and what I made an attempt to do was to be able to connect with people who had similar thoughts and ideas and perspectives on what was going on with carbonation. They relate to me, they enjoy my live streams, and they come through. So when I present other things to them, they also will have somewhat of a similar interest. And even if these things are unknown to them, or if they had an idea about these things, then they could be able to be a part of the live stream and we all could learn and then share and dialogue together. That's what it's about.
Facts.
But as
Facts.
opposed to me continuing to do all of that and more with taking down a cult leader, I've had people who've made an attempt in order to take down me. You see? That's right. That's right.
We can get into that if you'd like to. I was gonna go switch around into that. We can jump right into it, or if we could go into it later. Would you like to go into that now?
Hey, it's whatever. Like I said, I'm on your platform, brother. I had to come through. You understand? Because I know people got questions, so that's
Yeah.
why I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So let's talk about Ashe Divine. Let's start with Ashe Divine. What's the deal there?
There's no deal whatsoever with Ashe Divine. Ashe Divine is somebody that reported on Nature Boy. I think she was one of the first people to keep it real with you, to keep it a buck with you.
Yeah.
Hats off to her, for actually exposing Nature Boy with various videos, So yeah, hats off to her. And a lot of the stuff that came, the flack that I received from the channel holder, Ashe Divine, it actually came from her loyalty, her connectivity with Fundi Feet. And this is a person that I've known for quite some time. I knew Fundi from Facebook before Fundi was going live and before she came to YouTube. And, there were so many people that would tune in with her or whatever with Fundi Fee came about. only because I felt as if that I was disrespected. And the reason I thought that I was disrespected because I was actually in her live stream, actually after she left my live stream from Instagram, and she spoke, about why she was getting this money. And I was questioning, like, what is all of the money about? Because I'm like, well, you got wrenches in chats, you know what I'm saying, with people, that I don't rock with like that. But me and you, we cool because, we're from, the same community, so to say, just from being on Facebook. So it got to the point, with her that she stated that she was raising $8,000 to be able to debate Eligio Bishop. And I was like, okay, I get that part. But at the same time, by her wanting to debate Nature Boy, went to Nature Boy's inbox and I said, well, hey, the woman that you was talking about that you thought was another channel holder, grand, you thought that that was her or whatever, that's not her. I say, now, this lady want to debate you. I say, this ain't got nothing to do with me. But if you want to debate her, I told him, I said, yo, I'll drop your Cash App, I'll drop your PayPal, I'll drop all of that, within the chat because it's gonna be you and her talking and you and her talking alone. I say, are you willing to do that? And he said, yeah. I said, well, okay. Well, what's your Gmail? And he shot me his Gmail, Eligio Bishop 9 at Gmail. He gave me his Gmail. And I said, well, okay, cool. I say, do you know how to use Google Hangouts? And he was like, yeah, I know how to use it. So I was like, all right, well, that's what's up. I was like, well, we're gonna do this on my panel. You know what I'm saying? If that's cool. He was like, I ain't got no problem with it. Because at the time, he wanted to get in good graces with me because I was the one that was putting that heat on his motherfucking ass. So I was like, okay, because he wasn't worried about people that were just making little videos and stuff like that. He ain't care nothing about that shit. He wanted me to be cool with him so that I couldn't continue to attack him and then take down the fucking coat. So I left the inbox and I went back to Fundi's chat. When I went back to her chat, I left within the comments of the chat that Nature Boy said, that's what's up, it's on. So I was like, you want to go ahead over here, you know what I'm saying, do this thing or whatever. You can go ahead and shut this shit down now. You can come back later and talk to people or whatever, if that's what you like to do. I was like, but yo, I'm gonna go all out for you, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, I'm gonna go ahead and hold this on my channel. So what she told me politely and cordially was that my platform wasn't big enough for that. That's what she said. Right. So after doing that, that's when I commenced to roasting her ass. And that's how all of that right there took place. You understand?
So
And there was a
Fundy came and said your channel wasn't big enough to moderate,
correct. And I got more and I had more
and he
views
started
yesterday than
roasting.
Saturday. Yeah. That's how they jumped off. Cause I'm
So it
like, you
wasn't no
just straight
animosity. It wasn't no animosity or nothing. You just got mad and roasted her, and then she got mad, and y'all had a back and forth.
no, it wasn't a back and forth because after that I didn't respond. Because not only is she somebody that I still respect,
Yeah,
but by having a beef, that's just like if me and you had a falling out. You make a
yeah,
video, all right, dude, I make a motherfucking video too. You understand? And
yeah,
that's how that goes. Yeah.
yeah.
But it's not gonna be something every day that I wake up, you know what I'm saying, and think about or me wanting to see your demise or whatever. So after that took place, I left that well alone and I continued to report on Nature Boy. And it just so happens that the people that was connected with her, like another channel holder, whose photo you got on your Instagram with the braids or whatever, she felt some kind of way, as well as a long list of other women felt some kind of way about me and felt like utterly that I disrespected her, but I did not disrespect her. I got at her and I roasted her. So this is why I said that she got at me because she said that Fundi's not a roaster, and then it went even deeper with the who started everything in the whole nine, which at the time I was not at all interested in. The issue was between me and her. And like I stated to her on several occasions, dropping it within the comments up under her videos, this is my email, contact me. Before it went to that level, I asked repeatedly for her to contact me because I had a relationship with her on Facebook. We had familiarity. Let me put it like that. Not a relationship. We had familiarity with each other just by being in different Facebook groups because I was like one of the main people that were making conscious memes for groups like Dr. Francis Cress Welching, the Dr. Bean group, the Black Power groups. Like I'm like one of the main people that were making those memes that people share today. That's on Instagram. I made them joints. I wasn't paid for any of that whatsoever. So being that I met her there and I knew of her of there, I said, well, hey, this is one of my, what I'm saying, spiritual sisters, what I'm saying? She from the community or whatever, she gonna understand this. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna hold this debate right here. And then that went the other way. So then whatever whose ever narrative was in reference to what took place, they never addressed that. You understand what I'm saying? They never
Mm.
addressed that other than saying, oh, now I'm about to attack world news. Ask yourself why she never addressed me,
Okay,
aside from just making a video.
let me ask you about melanated. Let me ask you about melanated. She was on the show. She had some things to say. Um, she was saying that you had not necessarily that you had her channel copy stricken, but her channel was down. She didn't know why. There was a lot going on in that particular point in time. A lot of going back and forth between you and Jazzy G, but in particular, melanated. What was the whole deal there?
The whole deal there was she had posted one of my videos on her page, and she went back to say that the video wasn't my video because it was from a live stream that Nature Boy did, and she felt some kind of way. And I respectfully, I cordially asked her and approached her as a man to remove the video. Yeah, that's word. Now, who's this person that's in your chat? Lifted Bodis.
Lifted by the feet, body, Vada. She's a longtime subscriber. She's a good person. She really is a good person. I don't know what she just said. Let's read it. World, you have a substantial female presence in your chat, lives, as well as in your comment section. What is your hierarchy of belief pertaining to women and yourself in truth? In truth.
That makes no sense whatsoever. Because
What
if you,
she's asking, what she's saying is, you have a lot of female subscribers. You got a lot of female listeners. What she's asking is, what is your stance on women? Like, what are you, a chauvinist? Are you a sexist? Are you a feminist? Are you a equalist?
I
I
have no,
I'm sorry.
I
Go
have
ahead.
no stance. I have no stance whatsoever in any of them North American terminologies that are used other than me saying, you understand that I'm God, like straight like that, and as well as acknowledging the feminine masculine energy and knowing as well as understand that I see the black woman as being God. You understand? So being that I do subscribe, you understand, to that theory, to that philosophy, to that way of thought, that way of thinking. I think what she's trying to ask me is how is it that I'm disrespecting this woman? I think that's what she's saying.
Mm.
Yeah.
Speaking about melanated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Go ahead with that.
Okay. Now, in reference to MHP and what took place with her, as I asked her, as a man, I approached her and I asked her to remove the videos. That's when she commented back, up under her video, very disrespectfully towards me. And being that people already had preconceived notions of me and who I am as a channel holder, the mass majority of the women people that subscribe to her, they all opened up the damn floodgates and said, okay, now we're going to attack world news. And that's how what you asked me in the beginning, what took place with me and Ashe, that's what took place with MHP, and that's what took place with Jazz. That's how all of this happened.
So you had a video that you had streamed some of Nature Boy's content. As we all do, we all still get content from each other every once in a while. I particularly like to just get it straight from the source. I won't grab another channel's content unless I just got to. Unless it's just some. I do a series called Channel Surfing where I do that every once in a while. But I try to get it straight from like Nature Boy, or if I'm covering TMZ, I get it straight from them. That kind of thing. But so a situation happened to where you had covered Nature Boy. She covered a story that you had covered. Was it a short video, a long video?
Yeah, it was my live stream.
It was your whole live stream. So she covered your whole live stream.
Yeah, no, it ain't that she covered it. She used it. It even had my thumbnail at the bottom of the video. That's what I was trying to tell
So
her.
she downloaded it and uploaded her whole live stream to your channel.
Right. So and that's what I was saying. Like, you got my video up. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's different if you was to play my audio in my commentary and things of that nature, that's not subject in grounds within the guidelines, of a person, receiving a copyright strike. I never strike that lady's page. I don't have a reason to strike her page. If somebody come at me, then I'm going back at them. That's just the way that it go. If it's worth my time anyway. The majority of people I don't even respond to because they are anti with what I'm doing as far as the movement and upon what I've done, as well as my affiliates like the Reaper. You understand what I'm saying? And the progress that we've made thus far with putting a dent in carbonation and crumbling that shit. The reason why I never spoke about those damn people because they were not in addition to any of that whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I never had a reason to attack Ashe Divine. I inboxed Ashe Divine on Facebook Messenger weeks before any of this came about. I left in the comments to Melanated High Priestess. She chose to take the other ground, which would not be the higher road, and then wanted to attack me and wanted to band together with Ashe, Jazzy, and then other females, which I clearly understand. And to this day, it's not a beef that I got with any one of them. I get that. People mention my name for views all the time. All you gotta do is put my name in the video, it's gonna jump like Natureboy. Put World News something, it's gonna jump. That's
Yeah.
all you gotta do.
Yeah.
That's
That's the
right.
way it
So
is,
I
man.
get that. Yeah, I get that. I ain't beefing or no shit like that or whatever. Like I said what I said, and that was that. And if I ever had to address any female on any level whatsoever, you best to believe that I got assigned at least 5 women that'll be able to handle that if I don't have to get my wife or if she chooses not to step into play.
Now
There was never
getting into this. Speaking of this, Jazzy G, what happened with this Jazzy G situation?
this whole situation with her. I'm pretty sure that this came about the same way with what you're asking me in reference to Ashe Divine. When she first made a post on her Instagram page, she said, "Whoa, World News went in on Fundi Feet." That's what all of this is about.
Mm.
Yeah, it ain't about no personal beef with her. I ain't had no personal beef with her because hell, 4 days before that, she was just on a live with me. So why, how, and why would I have a beef with her if both of us is reporting on taking Nature Boy down and we supposed to be keeping our foot on Nature Boy neck?
Yeah. So she made a blog saying basically, hey, because you went off on Fundy Fee about the. So basically, I don't even want to get into that situation because I really don't know the details of that. I don't know what Fundy Fee did with the money. I'm gonna not talk. I'm not
Oh, no,
gonna
no,
speak on that one at all. But
you
what I
know,
do want to talk about is the fallout of the Jazzy G situation. You and Jazzy G were not necessarily friends, but associates at one point. Exchanged communiques. Like you said, were part of the same community that got their foot on Nature Boy neck. Uh, was there any animosity before that situation?
nah, I don't. Not on my part. What the hell I'm gonna be? Why would I have animosity towards her? What would be the purpose? She's a channel holder, like I'm a channel holder. You know how many people that made videos about me before her? Search the damn algorithm. Just type my name in. You be like, damn, dog. A lot of people made videos about me. People know that if they put my name in the title of their video, that they gonna get some views. That's all
Mm.
that it is. Cut and dry down the middle, bro. And it was all going back, excluding Jazzy out of this, excluding Ashe, excluding Melanated High Priestess and anybody else that made a video. All of these people did so by way of on the feelings and the mutual love and respect that they had for Master Fundi. That's all that is. That's why you don't see me making videos constantly about her. What the hell I'm gonna be making videos about her
Mm.
for?
Hmm.
She
Now
got a platform like that.
the back and forth with you and Jazzy though got intense. There was
Hold
legal
on.
action.
It was it
The
wasn't a back it wasn't a back and forth thing because I wasn't the one that initiated anything, and I also was the one that took the higher road, and I didn't even speak on her to 3 weeks after the fact.
mm.
So yeah, you gotta question her. You
So
understand
why
about
what was the situation where the police were called on a young lady? Not if necessarily the police were calling a young lady. I don't even want to get into that, but not yet. But there was somebody who was wanting to pull up and beat up Jazzy G, like the lady's mother, that was insulted or something like that.
oh, I don't know anything about that.
Okay, well never mind. Like I said, we don't have to get into it. We don't have to get into it. Um,
No, no, no. Because I never heard that before. What about somebody pulling up and all that? Like what?
Well, Jazzy had put on her Instagram not too long ago that people were trying to threaten her, and if something happens to her, these are this or that and the third, and but like I said, we don't have to get all into that. That's a little too deep for this conversation. We can pull that all the way back. We can say is that it can be over. It can be over. It can be over. Like I said, everybody can get past it. I know Jazzy said at one point, I'm on his head for life, doxing people in this kind, but we can't stop it. I hope that she sees this video. I hope that everybody that's watching this video understands that change can happen and occur. And it's not necessarily even change, just understanding. More understanding about a person will go a long way. And that's what these communications are for. That's what these uh, uh, kind of programs like this are for.
Right.
I want to switch gears now and go back to carbonation a little bit. Eligio Bishop, since this is what kind of brought us all together in this space. Um, what the hell is going on over there right now? Like I said, there is I think True, and this is my personal theory. I think True is gonna try to lead the group in Eligio's absence. He's made some lives recently. He's been the only one really going live and actually teaching the same shit that you'd hear Nature Boy saying, the same shit that you hear him always saying. He's actually just acting like nothing's happening. I think that if they are deported, which is another rumor I heard today, that if they are deported, that they all of them don't have to go. And would they stay? And is he even going to get deported? Because to my understanding, this is some kind of political imprisonment as well. Because the government of Nicaragua is at a point right now where there's a lot of civil unrest. People are very upset with the government, and they are trying to quell any anti-government sentiments. Therefore, Nature Boy with his, you don't have to work. The government is this and that, but you live in this country. We've got threats of child molestation here. We've got to bring you in for questioning, quote unquote questioning. Do you think that's what it is? Do you think the cult could survive without him?
I don't think that the code would be able to self sustain themselves. I'm not gonna say that they can't survive because all of them are adults, but they won't be able to sustain themselves because I don't think that it got to the point that he touched on the possibility of his absence actually taking place. That's what I believe.
Mm, mm. What do you think is going on with this whole situation? Do you think it's just trolls that finally got him in
Got it.
trouble,
Finally got it.
or do you think that he this is something legit, or what?
I don't think it has anything to do with trolls whatsoever. I think it has everything to do with the people that were behind the scenes that were making those calls and definitely put in that work to be able to shine the light and put some emphasis on what was going on to the people who were unaware of that. That's what I believe.
And you're one of those people. You always speak about that being very honest. And I love honesty. I love forthrightness. And you're very forthright in saying not necessarily taking credit, but saying, hey, this is don't forget to pat your back on stuff on the back sometime. If we report this number enough, if we do this enough, then we can affect change. Do you really believe that your channel, your presence, was a part of that change?
Most definitely. But even with doing so, I can't say that without mentioning all of the people, even the people that you question on what was
Facts.
going on taking place. I can't solely, take the credit for any of that. What I can say is that for the people initially that was reporting on carbonation or had, somewhat of a beef, with Nature Boy, it just so happens that many of those people, and I have recordings of these people saying this from saved videos, that they were not even going to talk about Nature Boy anymore. So when I picked up the baton in doing so, then I became like the newest threat that was relevant by way of social media. And people just so happened to tune in and to listen to what I was saying, aside from other people, because those people were in fact attached to a community of dramatics, to be quite honest with
Mm, mm.
you.
Community of dramatics, expound.
being that it was a community of dramatics because they were people painstakingly that started off initially with talking about Eligio, but then they did a 360 and then started talking about me, World News.
Mm. Mm. Okay, so you think that a lot of people. So what you're saying is, lifted by feet, Bodhisvara, Bodhisattva, lifted Bodhisattva. Anyone who's ever been in a cult-like situation, i.e., relationship, military, will find out once they defrag their mind, they can exist without their quote-unquote guru. It's the guru who can't exist without the clan.
Right, right, right.
uh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, what you're saying about, them not being able to exist or not being able to maintain, like I say, it's to the point that they are not befitting enough to be able to not only lead a cult, but they're not befitting enough to lead an organization. And what he made an attempt to do by way of social media was to start somewhat of an organization. But what he didn't do was he didn't self-sustain the organization because he never taught these men of on how to work, of on
Mm-hmm.
how to put their own vegetables. He also, didn't teach them about longevity as well and the possibility of someone not being a part, of the movement and what would have to happen next. Who would have to step up. He didn't discuss none of those things. So being that he didn't do that, that's why now many people say, well, hey, I think that, True will lead Carbonation. It ain't got a damn thing to do with True leading anything that got to do with Carbonation because Nature Boy had already got him to change his name to Master True.
Yeah.
He had already did that. Yeah, the receipts is in there. You know,
Now,
I got a billion receipts.
why do you think that he didn't teach them how to farm, how to act, how to do agriculture, how to herd these different animals? Because if you would think of any other culture, any other cult that's been in America, that's been that I can remember, they've always been self-sustaining. You look at the Amish, you look at the fucking Malachi Z. York and Tom Ray. You look at Jim Jones down in South Africa. All of these different cults had their own water supplies, their own food supplies. Uh, why would Nature Boy have his people depend on quote unquote Babylon, going to the store and we're eating organic, but we're paying all this money for it that we need donations to sustain ourselves off? Are they trying to prove a point?
No, it's not that they're trying to prove a point. It's just that he's a person that didn't give sound thought to of on what that he proclaimed his movement was about. First and foremost, if you think about it, when Nature Boy had melanation, know as well as understand that Nature Boy had Golden Boy and a couple other European males that was a
Absolutely.
part of melanation. So within itself, that should show you, as well as Kayla Reed, the
Mm-hmm.
Canadian,
Mm-hmm.
he was basically doing all of this with a ploy in order to receive money so that the group, the organization could be consistent. That's all that
Mm.
it was. He's a soothsayer. He's a master manipulator, and he's definitely somebody that took advantage of people's weaknesses. I will say, being that a lot of them may have some fragments mentally, that are a little off or whatever. He's seen that within these people, and these are the people that he scouted for. The things where he discussed with them via their inbox, I don't know anything about that. But by the information that's been provided by way of the videos, the live streams that he's posted thus far, this gives me reason to believe all of that and more that's taking place with Carbonation now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Because it is interesting. He's had a lot of people, just like Velvet said on the live last night with Sunnet. I don't know if it was last night or the night before last. He's had numerous people come and go. He's had people die over there, Mama Dia. He's had these children born over there, Serenities, and now Velvets, and then the other young lady, Ra, not Ra, Sheba. Um, there is kind of a no Eligio, not that we know of. Not I have not heard any reports that Eligio is out of jail yet. No, but we do have these causes for concern there. So what do we do about that? Like you said, we report, and these things happen. but what can we really do to stem the flow of this kind of thing happening in the future? Because, like I said, the information that he gives out is not bad information. It's just recycled information. Epigenetics, Bruce Lipton, a lot of Dr. Sebi stuff, and they do a lot of shock things. They like to debunk things. He and Young Pharaoh and a lot of other people like to do the debunking. General Seti does that as well, and they like to break down other things. But then you can break down everything. But then what are you bringing in? What after you broken down Christianity? You've broken down, Islam. You've broken down Hinduism. What are you giving to the people? And African spirituality, isn't that pretty much of the same? So when you listen to the information that he gives, it's not bad information, but it's just the methodology. What do you think about that? I apologize, I'm kind of rambling.
Oh no, you good, brother. You know what I'm saying? No problem. Like I said, there's never a wrong answer or too long of a question, you know what I'm saying, that you can ask. And the thing about it is, with this fraudulent as Jim Jones occultism, and with this fraud replication of even considering Eligio Bishop as being like, Dr. Malachi Z. York, I
Mm,
think it's all buffoonery and coonery. And to be quite honest with you, I think the way that we seen the movie The Wizard of Oz, the original Wizard of Oz, as we all were sitting back and wondering who this great person that the wizard, was, once that the wizard was exposed, once that it was revealed on the movie who he was,
mm,
people was like, "Damn, you're not a bad guy at all. I mean, you're just kind of weird as hell, but
mm,
you're not a
mm.
bad guy." And a lot of the weirdness that we seen of the wizard from that movie, there's a lot of wizardry that's taking place behind the scenes on social media. And to be quite
Absolutely.
honest, I think that there is one sole proprietor. I think that there's one particular person that's behind all of this and more. And the exact same way of on how that I was able to prove within itself, just looking at the Kanika Jenkins case and there being a psyop explaining what a psychological operation is, most definitely needs to be observed when looking at carbonation and the way to prevent other people from being a part of any of the atrocities that's taken place thus far. And what continues to take place is to be able to shine the light and to put emphasis of on how that this can affect a person, whether it be your daughter, your niece, your female cousin, or your male cousins, or your brother, or whoever. What we're doing right now is we're advocating on social media just to be able to bring about the demise of this taking place. Because aside from every other cult, like Jim Jones cult that we only heard of, all we can do is speculate based off of what we heard. And we do have a movie by Titus Booth that actually shows when Jim Jones went to South America, when he went to Guyana, which is near Brazil. When once that he went there and he did this, this is only illustrated by way of a movie, you understand, that's been made. Now, as far as Eligio Bishop and the members of Carbonation, as well as the members of Carbonation, the members of the Ethereans, this is something that we all have tuned in, by way of social media. So this is the first account of that. And you got to acknowledge that while using social media, that you definitely can reach more people online than what you can reach, in your everyday personal life while being in public.
Do you believe that reaching people on social media is also dancing with the devil, looking into this black mirror, giving this black mirror so much of your power, of your energy? Do you think that that can be a potential danger?
No, I don't. And the reason why I don't think that, because if you do the knowledge, back in the day, when we wanted information on things that we didn't know of, aside from simply going to a library, we had, like encyclopedias, which is the most popular Encyclopedia Britannica. We had those that were provided, and then people were able to comb through those pages and to look up additional information that they did not receive from the public schooling, as well as information that they didn't receive from their mothers and fathers, cousins, parents, extended parents, etc., etc. You see, but now through social media and by way of the www.com or the World Wide Web, know as well as understand that that command from www.com, that command was actually something that was very lightly touched upon once that I went to school, elementary school, within the 80s when they first started showing us about Microsoft DOS, about DOS, DOS, and about Linux, all these different software programs that were provided back then from the games that we played. All of this was the introduction of on what the psyop is, the psychological operation. Those teachers were able to report back to higher members within the school system, and they gave them information in reference to of on whether or not which student actually was able to progress through the boards of finding Carmen San Diego and then other games. This was nothing within itself but an operation in order to better understand the psyche of people and to show if people were in tune with a specific thing of on how people's attention could be derived. And what they got out of that, it brought about a great deal of similar tests like the Minnesota multiphasic test, which is actually a test that all prisoners have to take throughout diagnostic, and it gives the DOC, it gives the prison an idea of the mentality of the person that they're dealing with, and then that's how they know of on how better and efficiently how to place them in certain prisons to prevent certain things from happening to them.
Mm, mm. Powerful stuff, man. Man, we're about an hour in. I
Keep
could
it
go.
hot, brother.
Keep it hot. You think? Keep it hot. Okay. Okay.
Let's
Let
the
the.
show down, brother. Let's go, man. Let's
Okay.
go. I'm
Okay.
here. I'm in the
So,
building.
so you were talking about this just 1 second ago. Uh, I don't want to get copy struck on this channel. I don't want to get YouTube to get mad at me. Uh, but I really want to talk about this. We have people on YouTube that love to start mess. But there's a lot of information out here that we could benefit from. Why do you
Right.
think that people choose to tune into more of the drama lifestyle, the drama stuff? And don't get me wrong, I love a good drama myself. I love mystery. I love intrigue. Who doesn't? But why do people seem to tune in more to the drama than to the education? Like I said, truth, that facts.
To be quite honest with you, it deals with esoterics. And esoterics is only the things that are understood by a certain amount of people. See, that's a part of the psychological operation, brother. You see, when we were spending as much time as of on, hold on for a sec. Okay, I got 15 minutes. Then I got to run and get my charger right quick for my laptop. But
Okay.
the thing with the psychological operation is this right here. With the amount of time that we was talking about Kanika Jenkins, her being abducted, her being found on the floor of the freezer, when we spent an entire year discussing Kanika Jenkins, just know as well as understand that there were over 200 Kanika Jenkins that took place within Chicago and Chicago alone,
Mm-hmm.
not mentioning New Jersey, not mentioning Detroit, not mentioning Baltimore, not mentioning DC, not mentioning Virginia, not mentioning any of these larger cities, East Coast cities. When we were talking about Kanika Jenkins for as long as what we were talking about Kanika
Yeah.
Jenkins, I think we missed a lot of the stuff that was going on, behind the scenes because it didn't trend through the media. Because
These
when Kanika Jenkins came, you didn't hear anything about any unarmed black men being killed
mm,
unjustifiably by
mm.
these race soldiers. You didn't hear that anymore because
these
that
are
that that clause.
these are distractions, man. These are definitely distractions from what's really going on. Like, don't get me wrong. Every black men getting unarmed black men getting killed. Kanika Jenkins' death, even Nature Boy himself. A lot of these things, most of what's on YouTube and Instagram and the pretty models and don't you see my pretty butt and all this. Most of this stuff is just distractions from what's really going on. There's a big political play, like you said earlier. There's one guy, maybe three, maybe four, but not a lot that really hold the influence over what goes on this entire planet, maybe even in this entire galaxy. Who knows? You
That's
know
right.
what I mean? But at the same time, we do have an influence, but when are we going to really take the mantle for that influence? When are we really going to step up and say, hey, it's okay to listen to the Kanika Jenkins show, but what's the story behind Kanika Jenkins? You know what I mean? What's the story behind that? Let's use our investigative powers instead of trying to, make other people's lives, bad and bitter. Let's use this magic that we have to really get behind what it is, like form a coalition and really go after the powers that be. They'd be afraid of that. They'd be afraid of it. Like I said, I don't want to make YouTube mad at me. I don't want to get on here and they say, "Oh, conspiracy theorists, let's go." But I'm telling you, if we put together a group of people that really wanted to know what was going on in this country and this world, it we could do it. You know what I mean? I like to dig deep, and I know a lot of people on my channel like to as well. What do you think about that? What do you think about the fact that uh, people will help you, and how do you get that help? How do you organize that? I guess.
You have to distance yourself from from the dramatics, the melodramatics, as I should say, and the theatrics and the role play of everything that has to do with people that have nothing to talk about, that simply want to use other people as a scapegoat in order to get views and to have people like them only because they share a similar dislike. See, this is the science right here. If me and you fell out, let's say we was at Walmart and I'm coming back to the car and let's say your wife opened the door and she was mad at you and she hit my door and chipped the paint off the damn car. I'm gonna be upset. I'm gonna be irate. You're gonna get irate. But being that we're two black men, it has been instilled in our minds that it's only right through an indoctrination for us to go to war and kill each other without a drop of a dime. We supposed to
Mm.
fight. We supposed to fall out, cut each other. We supposed to do all of that and more.
And
See
if
the
I was a
science,
white man, if I was a white man, would have been, oh man, I'm sorry. Even if it
right?
was their fault.
You would have did a damn thing. I wouldn't have did a damn thing. And the science behind it all, dealing with the psychological operation, is these schemes, this plan, this role play that enacts the mind. You see, they study on what the cause and effect would be with these situations by way of our past dealings with each other. See, we find interest and seek interest in these theatrics and dramatics by way of us. You just think about these movies that we've seen, the movies that they put into our communities, the way that these things trended before that there was even a social media.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
off the gate, you can sit here and say, oh yeah, 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 yeah. I know about Minister Society because I like Old Dog or I like Kane. Or you can
Mm-hmm.
say, oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. I know what Boys in the Hood is, but I don't like how when Ricky got killed. The same way how when Ricky got killed, the way that it made you feel, that's the same way that it was when Kane got killed. When people thought that Old Dog would have got killed, but that's how that happens in life. The person that's the
Mm-hmm.
star basketball player, the star football player that aspires to be great in life. This is all a part of the plan, and it serves as an instrument to each and every one of us throughout the community. This is what they've showed us repeatedly, off repeated times, that this is what the end result would be, and we have become accustomed. And now we're to the point that we condone these acts as opposed to standing on the forefront and demystifying and debunking those acts. So that's why people are so caught up in the dramatics. You don't want to sit up and watch a reality TV show, about somebody graduating or somebody actually buying a new home or somebody getting an investment from an angel investor. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see a reality TV show about um, let's say a young black child, that grew to a teen, that's from Tuscaloosa, that's actually now staying in Silicon Valley and that's making over $150,000 a month. You don't want to hear about that stuff. You want to hear about
Love and hip
to
hop.
you want to hear about what happened with Lil Ron them and when Lil
Yeah.
Ron,
Yeah.
what I'm saying, killed David Cousin. That's what you want to hear about. And the reason you want to hear about that because it takes too much brain mass going back to the psyche or the mind. It takes too much brain mass to actually be able to conceive somebody, leaving their hometown and going to Silicon Valley and actually being somewhat of a tech giant. Like we don't see past that. You see, we don't see ourselves as being decamillionaires or billionaires. We don't see that, but we can very easily see every month, every time the new release of an Air Jordan tennis shoe comes out, the same shoes that I had in fucking elementary.
Do you
I
believe
had them.
black people? Do you believe black people? And this is gonna be a hard question to ask. What do you think the
Hold on.
more?
Can you hold that? Okay, no, you good. You
No,
good.
go
You
ahead.
good. I got it right. Go ahead. No, go ahead. I thought I
Okay.
was gonna have to go get my charge. I got it right here. Go ahead, bro.
What is your stance on the morality of North American African Americans or black people or whatever you want to call us, Moors. Some people call us Native Americans. Whatever you think that this is in North America here. I don't think it's any of those. I think it's a mix of everything. Like we're a completely different thing now than we were, 400 years ago. Like we've come here, we've interbred with just about everything that's been here. You know what I mean? Because we're a beautiful species, and now we pretty much, damn near gonna dominate if they let us. You know what I'm saying? That's why you try to keep our populations down with Planned Parenthood and all these other different resources to make you help you get rid of your baby. But not that I'm saying abortion is wrong. It's just I don't agree with Planned Parenthood. I have a lot of different beliefs on that. But we'll get into that at another date. But what's your thoughts on that?
In reference to why all of this was done. That's what you're asking.
Yes.
The reason why that it was done, because it's somewhat of a test. That's all that the operation is. Like whenever that you conduct an operation, it's a test, and then you follow through with it, and that's when you operate. See, these people went to, like, they surpassed
No, I guess I
the no.
apologize. I apologize. I didn't mean to cut you off, but that wasn't the question. The question I had started to ramble a little bit. I apologize. The question was, what do you think the state of the morality of the black man here in America, and why do you think that it's that? Do you believe in the Willie Lynch thing? Do you believe that black people have just been beat down so long that now they think that they're inferior, or do you think that black people are like I said, uh, just something different completely now than they were 400 years ago, and we can't be quantified by these, like you said, European terms. Like, what is the moral standing right now? Like, why do we think the things that happen in our community happen? Hood fights and people on Facebook Live raping each other, and people on Facebook Live getting shot. People on face you know on why do you think this happens?
This
Chicago,
is
Detroit. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
in my opinion, this is all a part of the psyop. Every last thing that has to do with it. If you think about when you, well, let me first go back to what you said in reference to the Willie Lynch letter. Okay, first and foremost, I will say this: I subscribe to the higher thinking of the Willie Lynch letter. Although the Willie Lynch letter was actually, written by a dude that was in prison. Like, it was a great illustration. Everything that he said, I get that and more. But as far as my belief in it, I have seen the telltale signs throughout the communities and with fair dealings with people to see that there is an everlasting effect that we do have with disliking each other. And before that was even brought into existence, we have to look deeper and go back to the movie Roots and do the science to what took place with Kunta, not before he left the motherland. We have to look at who the people were that were involved, that were actually the police back then, the law enforcement, the people that wore the fez, and the people that were along with the person that wore the fez, which in fact was the damn Arabians. And we have to look at the Spanish conquistadors.
And
We
that's
have to
the
look at
debate,
all
though.
of these
That's
people
the
that were
debate, though,
involved.
because the Arabs were also the Berbers of North Africa. The Arab, what they call the Arabs originated in Africa. Like all of these people are African people. If you check their genetics,
Yeah,
it's gonna have
yeah.
a percentage more than this percentage of African, then a little bit of European, probably some Asian, but a lot of that stuff is African from the beginning. So we can't, we yes, Africans did sell Africans, but what was that's the big debate, right? Though, what were we before we came here? Were we all over the place? Some people say we were already in America. The Mali Empire, Masa Musa, visiting his brother there in a Mexum, or what we call Mexico now. Being able to travel the sea and knowing what the currents are, being able to travel by astrolabe and by the stars, that we were even, and that was what 1300s. We were even able to travel before then. Look at the Polynesians and the Australians. Like, how did they get to those places? No, people don't just pop up on islands like that, and they don't say that they did. Their law says that they came across the currents, and this was hundreds of thousands of years ago. So we're looking at people so when we look at an area as close as quote unquote Africa is to quote unquote the Middle East, and we talk about Arabs. Uh, we can't just say that they are, Arabs. Like all of these people are African people. So when we speak about that, uh, what I apologize.
Oh no, you're great. You're good. And just
What?
like Loretta just stated, she said that we
Hold on
were
one sec,
all
guys.
over the place.
Go ahead, brother. I might have to give you a
Yeah,
one little pause. Hold on one sec.
okay, you good. Yeah, and just like Javetta was saying in reference to we were all over the place. Just know as well as understand that the only thing that brought about division and separatism, as well as the labeling, the titleizing, the branding of different nations, were only done by way of Europeanism. That was the only way.
I gotta close down this show real quick, and I'm gonna get right with you. Oh, you like close out? Yeah, yeah, give me that. Go ahead, take your time. Well, I'll just phone you back. Okay. Hey guys, sorry about that. Had a knock at the door. I really apologize about that. That's really unprofessional. I apologize about that. I normally don't happen. I'm normally here by myself and don't nobody bother me. You know what I mean? But that's my homeboy. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Back to the question, what was you saying again
I
now?
was talking about what are the morality of black people, and can you call black people black people? What is why are we here in America? In the moral state that we are in, and is it because we don't have a nationality? Is it because we don't have a place to call home?
Of course. Of course. I mean, without our nationality and divine creed, I mean, know as well as understand, I'm from North Carolina. So, I adhere to the teachings of the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Yeah, I'm 1928. So, yeah, of course. But like I say, with those titleizations that was brought forth, we have to go and we have to look deeper within the surface and know that the people who brought about those definitive titles were people who were making an attempt to divide us the same way of on how did they use Ethiopia, meaning divided, and then they use Niger, conform to Nigeria, and know as well as understand that it was the Spaniards, not Spanish people, but it was the Spaniards who actually brought all of this forth because the word moreno in Espanol means dark hue, but the word nigger or negro, it actually means black, which is distasteful. And those were the people that put that label on us. They viewed us as such, and I honestly feel like that there was niggas back in the motherfucking day, that were not only money hungry, but were power stricken and that wanted to be in control, that emulated a lot of the ways of the European man and wanted to put themselves in somewhat of a seeming higher position than other Negroes that they sing as being worthless. So that's how I think all of this came into play.
So you think it came into in the time where these kings of Africa, these kings of Europe, they had commerce, they had trade, they had ways of communicating with each other. These kings of Africa saw and were enamored with the kings of Europe, and they wanted to emulate them. They wanted to. Do you think that's where it all started? Like once I mean, but we gave them that culture. We're the one who showed them where the gold was, who showed them where the spices were, who gave them the words and the very languages they use. So why did we end up wanting to emulate them?
I think it all came, to be quite honest with you, it all has, it all dates back to power within itself and people wanting to be in control. Like there's just something about, being powerful or being in control that each and every one of us, despite our individualism, that we all crave to a degree, whether it's you being in control of your household or your home, or you being in control while that you're on your job where you're employed at. Everyone wants to feel important. Everyone wants to feel special. Everyone wants to feel like that they in fact has a position. And I think the people back in that era and time that had those positions actually seen an opportunity in order to leverage their control as well as their finances, whether they were goat herders or whatever it was, that they acquired or accumulated through land or wives or whatever that it was. It's as if that each and every one of those persons came about, with developing somewhat of a hunger to have even more. And if it actually involved using so I think that that's exactly the way that it came into play. Like there was no rules against that back then. Nothing was established, and that became somewhat of the quote unquote law of the land that we all are seeing today, but which is in a form now that is called the judicial system. You see, uh,
So going
facts. That's
going
fact.
going back to that, the Latin behind that, the judicial system, the judication of something, the adjudication of something, to
Right.
judge something. Going back to the spell work behind it. These systems were set up by esotericists from way back in the day. Maybe even by some of the first esotericists, maybe even by Hermes Trismegistus himself, or Hermes or Thoth, or whatever you want to call him. He was the one that originally wrote down the law, and we don't know if Moses copied him, or if Zoroaster copied him, or whoever wrote the Gitas, or the Mahabharat. We don't know where they got their information from, but it closely resembles a lot of it, even the Christian Bible, a lot of what this man wrote, as well as Paracelsus and others. Uh,
Let me interject when you right there. Okay, now what you're saying about being that we don't know this and we don't know that, and everything that you're mentioning, this goes all the way back with that operation or that control within itself, because that deals with religionism, it
mm,
deals with colonization, and it deals with indoctrination. So with those few examples that you just shared, know as well as understand, people are still not looking at the vista, they're not looking at the Vedas. They're not
mm,
even paying attention to, as opposed to adhering to the biblical reference of on what the everlasting effect has been from the Aquarian gospel, the way that it was worded, the way that the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali actually took chapters from the Aquarian gospel and
right.
added them into.
Facts.
I'm there with you, bro. I'm there. I know about Alexander. I know
Yeah.
about Alexandria and all of that, bro. I read a
Yeah.
lot of.
Ain't nothing wrong with it, man.
Oh yeah, we here, bro.
We here. We got to do this more often, man. We got to have conversations like this more often. Get the information out there. What are your thoughts on? We got your answer on where you think the morality right now it came from. It came from a particular time period in your belief, to where the kings were looking at these, Europeans, and they're saying to themselves, "Hey, they got, why they get amassing more gold than me? We gotta, get where they at. We want power. We want more money. We got to start another type of commerce here." And so they started selling slaves, Africans selling slaves among themselves already. But there was a different set of rules for these Africans, right? But now when the
Right.
European gets a hold of these slaves, they set a different standard, code noir, the black codes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when this comes into effect, this is the whole of the world pretty much. Is under now this code noir, telling everybody that black people are now a subhuman. That black people are no longer a human being. Like before this point in time, we got to trade with people down there. You could go down there and visit. We set up kingdoms down there. Yeah, they were conquering back and forth. Alexander the Great, fucking Ptolemy.
Right.
You name it. You know what I mean? But it was always back and forth. You know what I'm saying? They was always seen as, as equals necessarily. But now we come to this situation to where no, they are no longer equals with us. What do you think empowered the white man to even be able to do that?
He's seen a weakness within us, to be quite honest with you. And like I stated before, and I'm stating it this way so that people can be able to listen in the playback and they'll be able to coincide it. As I spoke in reference using the example of the movie Roots, when Kunta, was making the attempt for survival, when he was actually trying, to catch the chicken or to catch the rooster at the time, he did that for his family. And with doing so, that's how he was actually, able to go back to the rest of the tribe and then tell them, like, hey, it's some people out here, some people with different color skin, that took some of us or whatever. You see, when this is all the makings of that and more, you see. And then when you look at the systematic approach now of on how to destroy a black man or to separate a black family, look at the Willie Lynch letter, as you had spoke on as being an example, and you will see that throughout the years, throughout the decades, throughout the generations, throughout the centuries, that they've had to make continuous, never-ending plights in order to do so. They just simply reenact it every time. You see, they update it every time. You see, they have to keep coming with more efficient ways. And one of the greatest ways that they've maneuvered amongst all of us through whatever said unquote community that we're in was to be able to bring about division, brother. That's
Mm-hmm.
what they did. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's facts.
And they call it
And they
COINTELPRO
call it
now. And
yeah,
like you said,
the
this psyop, like you said, this psychological operation has been going on not just people, not just black people, not just whatever you want to call people, but on the entire world. The European has pretty much taken over the world. They have pretty much conquered the world with this methodology, with this philosophy, manifest destiny.
right.
We as the Christendom have the authority of God to make so whatever we so fit be, and it's right here in America. They get their way legally, they get their way economically. Um, there's really in a sense no way to fight it. Could we be looking at what it is, that one thing that we were talking about, the saying that one that sits above all? Is it religion itself? Is it the religiosity of the quote unquote Christian church? I'm not trying to hurt nobody's feelings. I'm just asking a question.
That's one of the main tools. You gotta, like what I stated before in reference to there being a continuous effort that has had to take place. They've used different instruments throughout the centuries, which was in fact a controlling tool and process in order to bring this about. It just so happens that it's easier now through social media, the same way of on how people lack certain information about me and of on how that they could form somewhat of a preconceived notion and this
Did we lose
that's
you,
how they
World?
go.
Okay, we got you back.
Okay, I'm here. Okay, we got you. Okay. Okay, yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I think you might have missed some of that. You went out on
Yeah, I
me for
missed
a
like
second.
maybe the last couple seconds. Doble Problema Reina, thank you so much for being here, man. Peace to you as well. Walaikum salam. Personally, it seems,
No doubt, though, Blade. Walaikum salam, rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Indeed.
man, thank you
Indeed.
so much.
Indeed.
Let's see. Shout out to the YouTube channel holder. Thank you so much for that, man. Thank you so much for that. I'm actually about to leave it here. I just had some unexpected company, and I left them on the porch waiting until I finish this. Man, thank you so much for coming through, man. We got to do this again. I don't know what we'll schedule it up. You guys leave it in the comments if you when you want to see it, what you want, what you want us to talk about. We'll get it. We'll definitely get it in because my man right here is educated. My man right here is on it. Wurldnews11. Leave them your socials. What do you want to end with?
Oh, all I could say, you know what I mean, is before that you prejudge me, and despite what you heard about me, allow for yourself to get to know me as being somewhat as the message, not the messenger. So always, you know what I'm saying, take it within yourself to listen to the message first. You understand what I'm saying? Before that you start criticizing and attacking me. And I appreciate you for providing this platform in order to speak and allow people, to hear it, from a perspective other than from my own channel. So it is what it is, brother. It
All
is what it
right.
is. All
All right. Appreciate you so much, man. I'm gonna stop the stream, but I want to holler at you real quick offline, and we'll see you guys later. Thank you guys so much. Thank you all the mods in the chat. Lifted by Vita, Vativada. Thank you so much for your questions. Everybody, thanks for your questions. We'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to
right.
like in the video and subscribe if you like the content. Take a look at it and see what you like, and please do.